Mwangi Kariûki. Josiah Mwangi Kariûki, 21st March 1929 to 2nd March 1975, popularly referred to as JM, was a Kenyan socialist politician during the administration of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta's government. He held different government positions from Kenya's independence in 1963 until his assassination in 1975. Early life. JM Kariûki was born in Kabati town in Rift Valley province to Kariûki Kegani and Mary Wanjiko. He was the only boy in a family of 5 siblings. In 1938, he briefly enrolled in Evanson's day school, but dropped out shortly after due to lack of school fees. He worked on a European settlers farm until in 1946, when he won a bet on a horse at the Nakuru races. Using his winnings, he enrolled himself in primary school, and although he attended several schools, he was finally able to finish his primary education in 1950. Later, he joined King's College Budo in Uganda's Wakiso district for his secondary school education. The start of Kariûki's political career is usually traced to 1946, when he listened to a speech at a political rally in which Mzee Jomo Kenyatta denounced the way the British colonial government was treating native Kenyans. It is, however, likely that he became interested in politics at an early age. Before his birth, his parents had been displaced in 1928 from their family land, Chinga, in the Nyeri Native Reserve, to work in the White Highlands. There, they became squatters on a European settlers farm, deprived of land rights and essentially forced to work on settler land for low wages. In 1940, he joined his primary school drama group, which presented play dramatizing efforts to resist colonial rule. While in Uganda, for his secondary school education, he closely followed the struggle that local secondary school education and returned to Kenya shortly before the country was placed under a state of emergency by the new governor, Sir Evelyn Bali, the Mau Mau uprising. After Kariûki took his oath, he started working as Mau Mau liaison officer between Eldoret and Kisumu. He also helped in soliciting money, boots, and housing for Mau Mau. This led to his arrest in his hotel, which was working as a front to his political work. He was then detained in various camps, including Co-op, Lang'ata, Manyani, from 1953 until his release 7 years later in 1960. After his release, he managed to secure Kenyatta's approval in starting Nyeri's Kenya African National Union KANU branch by visiting him in detention. After his release, he managed to secure Kenyatta's approval and became a friend to him. When Kenya became independent, Kariûki worked as secretary between 1963 and 1969. In the late 1960s and early 70s, Kariûki's relationship with Kenyatta became increasingly strained as Kariûki became increasingly vocal in his criticism of Kenyatta's government policies and their and the deterioration of relations between Kenya and other members of the East African community. In addition, the KANU government under Kenyatta had failed to provide drought relief and had been mismanaged the economy in the wake of 1973 oil crisis. A major criticism regarded the unfair distribution of land by Kenyatta's regime after Kenya attained independence. The United Government had given Kenyatta government funds to buy back land from European settlers. However, the land bought Kenyans who previously lived in these settler areas. Instead, most of it was given back as gifts to Kenyatta's family and friends, or as bribery to influence political allies. In 1974, he was re-elected. He was elected as Nyandarua's member of parliament and became an assistant minister in the Kenyatta's government between 1974 and 1975. This was despite the government having made every possible effort toward his re-election, because his political popularity among ordinary Kenyans threatened to overshadow Kenyatta's own. He was last seen alive at the Hilton Hotel, accompanied by Kenyatta's bodyguard on 2nd March 1975. The first attempt on his life was on March 1975, when a bus he was supposed to travel in to Mombasa was. On 2nd March 1975, Kariûki's remains were found in Ngong Forest by a hard boy. His hands had been chopped off, his eyes gouged out, his face burnt with acid and left on. When the news of Kariûki's death broke, Nairobi University students marched in protest in the streets of the capital. The march was broken up by Kenya riot police, and the campus was closed down, not reopening during Kenyatta's lifetime. Altogether, J.M. Kariûki was a larger-than-life figure on Kenya's political scene, and his violent demise was widely mourned by his compatriots. He had been prolific giver, and expressive giving best describes his philanthropy. It was prompted by this desire to express support for something larger than himself, and reflected his vision for a nation whose citizens would be able to fend, was designed to have a measurable impact on society as a whole. Today, J.M. Kariûki is remembered by Kenyans predominantly as a hero. Increasingly, he came to represent the force against the evils that have harmed remembered. In Kenya today, I can only see the dawn of a June morning rising majestically from the white oblivion into the serenity of life. Another of his saying goes, "We do not want to see a country of 10 millionaires and 10 million poor people." We paraphrase.